very good morning on this beautiful Tuesday morning, where it is all about Parenting Tuesday, where we navigate parenting together. And this morning I'm pretty much excited, not probably because of the topic, but the guest that I have in studio with me. A lady and a gentleman, amazing people. They'll be introducing themselves, very good in their fields of work professionally. And we're going to have a discussion. It's not an easy one because, there's a lot of, probably when this parent started this journey, they didn't know where to start from, how to go about it, navigating life again post the experience that they went through. But he's going to tell us, his experience, and also have an expert who will be telling us exactly how to navigate this journey when you find yourself in such a situation. And our topic for today is parenting through loss. Welcome to studio, gentleman and lady. And I'll start with you, Faith, to introduce yourself to our audience.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sally, for having me here today. My name is Faith Nafula Atsangu. I'm a counseling profession, and I'm happy to be here.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Welcome, Sam.
Thank you, Sally, for having me. Good morning, viewers. My name is Samuel Otieno. How do I say? I'm a parent to a young adult, 19 years, a teenager, 14 years, and a girl who is just in her middle childhood, 8 years. But professionally, I work at a non-profit organization called Zizi Afrique Foundation, where I head the Directorate of Advocacy, Communications and Partnerships. I'm glad to be here.
Karibu sana, fantastic. So you're a father of girls?
No,
you said three?
2 girls, 1 boy.
2 girls, 1 boy.
Yes.
Oh, amazing. Actually, I just met one up here, an amazing girl. You're doing a great job, Sam. So we are, our topic for today, as I just introduced, is about parenting through loss. And you're the parent, you're the one who's gone through this experience. But before then, probably you can just take us back to how long were you married? How was marriage life like as we get into the conversation?
That's an interesting question. I had known my wife for 21 years.
Wow.
And we had been married for 19 years.
Wow. Okay.
And it was, people usually say that sometimes when one spouse has left, people are always praises and positive. But I can say it was, for me, one of the best experiences of my life.
Right.
And I got married to a very close friend of mine.
Wow.
And we were friends. We were extremely close. We had a lot of dreams together.
Right.
And this is somebody I could be able to tell anything. We could plan together. We managed our finances together. We planned. We executed things together.
Yeah.
We corrected one another, but also supported each other quite a lot in our careers, but also whenever we had challenges.
Fantastic.
And one interesting thing, Sally, is that this lady also helped me raise my siblings.
Oh, wow.
I had lost my parents at a young age, and I was the firstborn. And this is the lady who took care of my siblings. And up to now, my siblings still refer to her as mom.
A perfect
yeah,
match.
so
amazing.
Yeah, so she was a good lady.
Wow. Okay, it was, yeah. So Sam, what, I don't know if you'd be comfortable probably to tell us exactly what happened prior to her loss, what caused her death.
Yeah, so during the entire time when we've known each other, and even after we got married, we led very healthy lives. We were never people who went to the hospital. I mean, apart from the normal things, when a flu or a bug hits Nairobi, you always get your share. And so it was in around 2018 December. Okay. When my wife realized she had a lump on her left breast. Okay. And it was around Christmas. So she informed me, and we checked and felt, feels like there's something here. But because at first it doesn't, you don't think it's something serious, we said. Now that we are approaching Christmas, let us go home for Christmas. Let us go up country for Christmas. When we return, we'll check.
Let it not ring.
And I told her, I don't think it's something serious. I mean, so we went and came back and got our kids back to school. And then we decided to go for a check one day. And when we went for a check, and it was, we were told, there's a lump here. Okay. And so we need to do some scans. So the scans were done. It was looking just like maybe an inch or so. But then we're told they have to do now, they call it a biopsy?
Biopsy,
yeah, just to confirm what it is, and yeah. And so that procedure was scheduled. One of the hospitals around, don't want to say which one. Yeah, but so that was done. So when that was done, I remember I was at work, because we didn't take it very serious. So she went alone. Ordinarily, I would go with her when she's going for those kinds of checkups.
Yeah.
And so I was called from the hospital, and I was told the results don't look very good, that this is cancerous. And so you're going to have to go into now how, a management mode to be able to see it. And that, of course, now, obviously, that was a real shocker. That was a real shocker.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you realize your life has completely changed, and the way you view life becomes different, and just the emotions and trying to think of what do you do next, and how will it pan out. But of course you have, doctors were encouraging you, if we manage this very well, it looks like it's a bit early.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we manage it very well, we should be okay. But of course now then you get into the staging.
Yeah.
And a lot of those procedures that just makes you so anxious.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so she was staged at early stage 2. And so she was put into treatment.
Okay.
And first I think it was radio to try and reduce the lump.
Yeah.
And then she did lumpectomy, which is basically removing that portion.
Yeah.
And throughout she responded very well to treatment, all these treatments, and of course apart from now during chemo, the hair loss and those kinds of things. I think for a great part, in fact, my wife would actually leave a chemo session and go to her office.
Wow. Okay.
And go to her office, and life was pretty normal, and they had to check the body. But after around a year, when she was back, she was on medication, but pretty much healthy. And so one day we were at a family function, and she was one of them. She was a matron in a wedding, and we are seated at the reception, and she's moving around, the way ladies would move around when such things, they're leading on such things. And I realized that her eyes were extremely red. And I remember calling her and telling her, Siri, can you just get a mirror somewhere and look at your eyes? Your eyes are so red. It was like really, really
bloodshot, right?
Yeah, yeah. And she looked at them and she came back and told me, I don't know. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
I was like, are you feeling any pain? Are your eyes itchy or something?
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm okay. And I remember joking and saying, ladies get too emotional. You get over emotional with these weddings. So maybe you were crying at the back there.
Yeah.
So then it disappeared. But I think the following day I told her, it's not normal.
Yeah.
That your eye, and then now, when you are on that kind of long-term treatment, you also become also very, very cautious and very aware
of course,
that you need to check yourself. So when she was taken for a test, they said, looks like her eyes are okay, but they need to check, they need to scan the head to see what the reason could be.
Okay. So this is a year after the diagnosis.
The diagnosis.
Okay.
And when they did scans, they realized there is a very huge tumor in the head.
No.
And the doctor then told us there must be a connection between these,
the two,
and the other. And for a moment I went back and looked at what were the scans, what are the tests that were done, and some things that sometimes become very problematic. So the doctor then told us that they had checked based on the number of lymph nodes that were affected. They only checked the neck downwards. So basically, it turned out that at the time when she was being diagnosed of the lump on the breast, this thing was already in the head. And so it's, yes.
So this, now the cancer is what now took her life.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, so she was on treatment for around 4 years, and we had to seek treatment from different facilities, a lot of different procedures. But it was just towards the very last end that the tumors became so many, multiplied in the head. I've got all those treatments. You go to India to try and solve the situation. Yeah, but it was cancer. It was originally of the breast.
Okay.
I'm not a medic, but I was wondering, could it have been from the head down? I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
All right. Pole sana. Pole sana. Yeah. And Faith, you know, you're being the expert, you know, there are children involved here. Sam is telling us that, you know, there are 3 kids here involved. Even his siblings are her children, you know, her children as well. What is the impact of, you know, losing a mom on a child or a parent? What impact does that have to a child mentally, emotionally, even physically, psychologically?
Yeah. Thank you for that. Loss is loss. Right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a parent,
yeah,
a spouse, job, we are currently experiencing that.
Yeah.
As a nation, because of the aid that we used to get from the USAID.
Yeah.
So losing a parent, especially the one who you've been looking up to for caregiving, naturally they say mtoto ni wa mama. Yeah, of course it's both parents, father and mother. But when a mom leaves, it brings a very huge gap.
Yeah.
Because it's your mommy who started breastfeeding you from the word go. And if it's for a couple, it's the mother or the woman who prepares food, who makes houses clean. And when you have a mother around, you just feel comfortable, and everything else flows. Yeah. So when you lose a mother, not saying that when you lose a father is not as grave, but when you lose a mother, a person who you've been looking up to, it really, really takes a toll on you. There are people who move on. There are people who get stuck. Like, I'm so used to waking up, my mommy preparing me for school, cooking for me dinner, but now here, mommy is not there.
Yeah.
So life becomes shattered.
Okay.
You start being hopeless.
Okay.
So if you don't take that period of grief nicely, you might not heal and just get stagnated there. We have different stages of grief. First, it will happen to you. You'll become so angry. You'll start cursing. Why me? God, why did you choose to take my mother away? Cancer, you're a monster. Of course, we say all that. Or even other sickness, we curse. And then after some time, it hits you, you start bargaining. You start bargaining, you start seeking help, you talk about it, you talk about it. There are some who will get out of that stage, but there are some who will get into depression because they cannot move on. Yeah. Yeah. If it's a husband, they get into alcoholism. Yeah. If it's a child, crying, isolating themselves, they don't want to meet other people, they just want to be by themselves. The performance in school goes down, the relationship between peers in class goes down. There are some who even miss going to school because they're like, wow, if I go to school and then what will happen to the parent I'm remaining with back at home? Or what will happen to the siblings that I take care about at home? So they decide to be cagey. Okay. You get? Then after that, if you manage to pull through, then you come to the stage of acceptance. That, yeah, it happened. Mommy or daddy is no more. I have to move on. So we have different thresholds on how we handle things.
And you don't have to go through the stages, really.
You don't have. There are people who are hardcores. It will happen to them. They will bargain. They will curse. They will experience anger. But after some time, they will pick. And you cannot say all children will be the same. Or you cannot say husbands will be the same. Or relatives will be the same. No. People have different ways of processing this. And you cannot say how I take loss is how my brother will take, or how my husband will take, or how my relatives will take. We all have different ways of handling loss.
Correct. Yes. Sam, how was it like for you and the children? First, maybe we may want to know, the audience and our both listeners and viewers, how did you break the news now to the children after the demise of their mom?
Actually, I think one of the things that we really agonized about was actually breaking the story around the illness, you know, and it took us almost 8 months.
Wow.
To be able to prepare our children, to be able to get to a level where we told them this is what is happening. But as you can see, mom is okay, and you know, and they'll pretty much still see their mom being okay. So on that beat, or for the 4 years, there was almost a semblance of knowing, okay, mom had this Zika issue, but you see she's doing okay.
Right.
And that was good. But of course now towards now, the very like, let me say now like 6 months towards her death.
Yeah.
Was very difficult because the kids would begin now to notice that their mother is not the same, that she's not the energetic person. Of course, of course, for mothers, you know, you try to be really strong for your kids, but they can see, they can clearly see, and at that particular time, my daughter had just, you know, finished Form 4, so you're dealing with a pretty much bigger girl, and my son, who's the second born, was very close to the mom, and so you go through a lot of these things as a man. You look at your kids, and sometimes you break down, but you also want to be strong and not make you know, the person who's sick also feel like.
Absolutely.
So it was difficult, you know. There were times when, you know, like, you know, somebody gets seizures, somebody collapses in the house, but she brushes it off and says, no, I just tripped a bit. And so it was that was a very, very difficult period. You almost feel like your life has just stopped, you know. You wake up sometimes, you don't feel like you want to do anything. Kids wake up sometimes, they don't feel like they want to go to school, like Faith was saying. But one of the things that I think for us helped us a little is we decided to be open about it, and we decided to involve the children in this process.
Right.
So when we're going for clinics, we would carry them, not necessarily letting them know we're carrying them for what purpose, but, you know, to just be like something like, if you want to come with us, please come with us. We would engage them even in administering medication, spending a lot of time together. We had a very strong tradition of going to church, and and we were both officials in church. So like Sundays from around 9 to around almost 5, we would be in church together, live there, go for lunch. But of course it's never easy because we're also living in an age where children have information at a very young age. So they keep asking you some things, some questions that are supposed to be answered by medics, you know, and you try to navigate them. But we also had a small but very tight group of friends who we had let into our lives on that issue. And so we generally had support. You know, we generally had somebody to talk to, even in some of those low moments. But it doesn't make the pain less, you know. It doesn't make the pain less. But also, I think for a spouse, that's just that bit of living, knowing things could go south. You know, it's a terrible feeling. It's a terrible feeling. You're living, not knowing how long. How long you have. How long you have, and you're clutching on every opportunity. If you are told this hospital has got these very good specialists, go and see them. The following day you are there. You are told maybe this supplement would be very good for this. The following day you are there. You're told, and you know, cancer can be very expensive. But I think for me, I thank God that I had a job with a very good, you know, cover. For most of the parts, and that helped quite a bit. But I think at some level it reached where, you know, like towards the time when we wanted to go to India, my friends had to come in and to support. But I mean, those stages she's talking about, I think one of the things I didn't realize until her demise was that actually our process of grieving started just when
immediately
from
the
diagnosis.
You
know, I always assumed that, you know, at the point of loss, that is when now you're grieving. I mean, it's something I wouldn't say, and sometimes you don't know how children also process things. So it's easy to say they were okay, but maybe they were not. But the idea is it's something we used to talk about, And my wife had, we had made a very conscious decision that we will involve our kids in this. Of course, sometimes you get friends who will advise you, tell you, no, keep them off this, it will traumatize them. And all of them are actually advising you from a point of love.
Yeah. But now you make a decision based on what is best for your children. And Faith, probably just to bring you into what Sam is saying, the children, what are some of the signs that, you may be able to tell that this child or these kids are struggling to cope with the loss of their parent, and probably what are the ways to deal with, even if Sam and the other parents out there who have gone through this. But I think we'll take a short break, and then we'll be back for you to answer that question as you keep thinking about it. So keep it here. Remember that you can talk to us on 20316, SMS 0786316316 is WhatsApp number. Talk to us, ask your questions, and make your comments and compliments to help us, or to help you understand how you can parent through a loss, or if you know someone who is in such a situation. We'll be right back after the music break.
What has family media meant to you?
For me, family media, I started listening to family media when I was still in high school, and I loved the music. I always wanted to sing. I would go sometimes and pray in secret and tell God, Lord, I want to know how to sing. But whenever I tried to make a song, the song would just be something
you're like
else.
me, I'm a bad singer too.
Yes. So I continued on. But there's a time I started listening to this Christian music. I loved singing in English. So I would listen to this good music that was coming from Radio 316. And I kept listening to them and saying, one day I'll be able to write that way. So there are these songs that started coming just into my heart, and I would see them follow the patterns. So by just that admiration, right now I've been able to write like I can say 20 songs, but I've written, the ones that I've gone to studio with are like 3 songs.
To become a partner, SMS the word partner to 20316. That's 20316.
Whoa, welcome back. We're just having a small discussion in studio, with my guest. And before the break, Faith, we were talking about, the children. What are some of the signs that a parent should look out for and know that my kids are actually struggling to cope emotionally, physically, psychologically?
Wow, that's a good question. And some of the signs that children will start showing is they will lose interest in things that they enjoyed doing.
Okay.
Like if there are children who liked going out and playing with their peers, they will decide to stay back at home.
Okay.
Because also, the world is cruel. There are people who will show you love after loss. There are people who will start now bullying you. After all, your mother is not there. Who will you go tell? So you'll find that children will decide, let me keep to myself. If they're school-going children, they will stop they will just start creating excuses.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a headache. Oh, the teacher is bad. Oh, and the grades will start going down. Right?
Yeah.
If it was a normal child who used to sleep normal hours, either they'll start staying late in their own world, overthinking and sleeping late, or there are some who will start sleeping too much. They're abnormal.
Okay.
Yeah, they get into sleep and they will sleep. There are some who will even go into eating a lot, or some who will not even eat because of the thoughts, the stress that they are processing.
Okay.
There are some who will get into drugs, delinquency behaviors. Drugs and irresponsible sex behavior. Right? Even there are some who will start even piercing or even just cutting, harming themselves, self-harm. So it depends with how. And there are some who will just keep quiet. You ask them, so what is happening to you? I'm okay. But you can clearly see they're not okay. Most of the time they're in deep thoughts. Because they are worried. how will I survive without mommy?
Okay.
Because if mommy is the one who used to go out, look for money, you know how different families are, different
the setups are different, absolutely.
Yeah, so many women are holding these families. They say mothers are the pillars of homes. So you find that they'll experience too much anxieties, too much worry, and to some they'll just get into depression and they will never move. And if it's a normal child who was not susurring in bed, they will start susurring. Not that they want, but they just find themselves like that. It's all here. And if no one takes it nicely, you start arguing or you start blaming
or you're
shouting at them. You never used to susur, right now you're susuring. You're just making the situation
worse. Okay.
Yeah. So what we need to do is just to be keen and alert.
Okay.
Right? Because this is a major change in someone's life. You just need to be keen. This is a person who used to laugh or to interact with people, but of late this person is teary, loss of interest towards life. You know, just need to be keen and pick the different changes that are happening and seek help.
All right. Yeah. Some, you know, I'm just wondering, are there any traditions or, you know, habits that probably you have with your children that just help you, now the family stay connected? Things that you just do together to bond even more, because now you're acting as the mom and the dad. Yeah.
So throughout our marriage life, we had very good programs to be able to be together.
Okay.
To spend time together.
Right.
Of course, in my job, I travel quite a bit. But it never hit me that it was that important. So I think after the loss, I came to realize that I need to be more intentional about that.
Wow.
And now it's more of a very kind of programmed, routines that ensure we spend time together. First, the thing is, as a man who is now the father and the mother, you adjust a bit.
Right.
So if I was spending a lot of time with the boys out, I've reduced that one quite a bit.
Of course.
My boys find me a bit scarce. But I also have a group of very good friends who sometimes would prefer to even just come and spend time with you. And
awesome.
And that one I've realized for the children,
awesome.
It's a very good thing. But also we are very deliberate. Like most of our weekends, apart from the Sunday that we spend in church, the Saturdays and Saturdays sometimes, I had to invest in a lot of. I even learned to play chess, to play chess, and now I find myself spending a lot of time playing cards with the kids, and sometimes maybe you're doing a barbecue in the evening. Basically, spending time together. My daughter is in uni, and college is along my way to work, so we tend to spend quite a bit.
Actually, you came in with her. I love that. I love that.
We came with her because she was on her way to school. But the idea is that we have really been keen on opportunities that makes us to spend time together. We've kept some traditions that we used to have, like whenever we can, going for a holiday, a week, just getting away, doing that. Sometimes I have to go pick my kids from school.
Okay.
And what Faith was saying is very true, that after loss, kids sometimes get disoriented quite a bit.
Okay.
So they will wake up in the morning and say somebody's bullying them in the school bus, or just excuses. Excuses. They say, "Oh, teacher didn't hug me yesterday," and that kind of thing. So again, also the other bit of is now being very deliberate and very connected to their teachers, trying to be
what they're going through as well as school.
How they're behaving, what they're going through. At some level, you notice something, on the children, you have to go to school. But also being very intentional on their friends, I don't think I ever worried about who's playing with my child. But I think nowadays, about that, you're at that space where you feel like, who are you visiting? Who's your best friend? And that has helped, and just trying in a small way to let them know that you can come and tell me anything that you're going through.
Right.
Of course, I've also, I've also had some very tight friends, and I know a number of them have been very deliberate also on spending time with the girls. And sometimes we hear they're going out for lunch, and and sometimes maybe they've come picked the young one. So it's a mix of so many things.
So many
and
things.
You can't quite figure out
which one is
the best, which one is working.
But at least you're keeping the traditions and that
your social
bonding.
support also.
And my social support, I have pretty much very good friends and some really good colleagues.
You must be a good friend also, you know. and you know, when you talk about, I love that you brought in the bit about support, you know. What is the importance really of that faith for someone like Sam or any other parent out there or a child, whoever is going through a loss? What is the importance of having that kind of support?
Wow, the importance of having that support is you don't feel like you're alone in the process, and you don't feel like all is lost.
Yeah.
And also this support should be a genuine support, because we have support that is they say the hovering spirits, to just see what are you doing, how you faring, and then they go and sit and say, alikuwa anajiringa sana, alikuwa anapenda kuenda kudunda, and but saizi maisha imemhumble. So you need to really really choose people who are genuine, that they are there to help you, that they are there to support you, to listen to you, to guide you, to even talk to your children in a good way. Because if you get people who the intention was to just come and tear, then there's nowhere you're going. And typically women usually have a very, very strong support, and men keep things to themselves. They don't know how to adjust to this new. But when you talked about intentional parenting, that is very, very important. When you become intentional, you come to achieve so much. You be present for your children, and that's the only way they will be open to you and tell you, this is what I want, this is how I feel today. You share, how was your day? You cook together, you do chess as you've said, and that brings the bond together.
Yeah, he's even learning new things with the children.
Yes, you're learning so many things. So support can be your friends, your relatives, your co-workers at work, people around you. Support can come from anywhere, but also you need to be very alert. Which kind of support am I exposing my kids to? Because you've worked so hard to get where you are, to remain sane after loss. That is a lot of work.
But the other thing I'm also wondering, here is Sam, and he's taking care of the children, ensuring this. You can hear him talking about, but I've not heard him talking about his self-care. How important is self-care? Then he'll tell us what he does for his own self-care.
Self-care, as always I say, you cannot draw from an empty cup. You need to be okay for you to even serve. If you have so many programs running in your head, you even forget about you. So some of the self-cares that I always tell people is, one, guard your thoughts. What thoughts are you keeping? Like when you wake up, what do you tell yourself? Right? How do you handle yourself, even when you speak? Do you speak nicely or negatively?
To yourself.
To yourself.
Okay.
How is your sleeping pattern? Are you getting enough hours of sleep? Of course, we have work that demands our time and all, but you need to balance that. I will spend these hours at work, these hours I'll spend with my children, these hours I'll spend on me. Right? How are you eating? Because the world is so fast, you might even forget to eat. When you don't eat, your energy levels go down. Your immunity goes down, and chances of you being hit by ugonjwa are very high. Like even depression can come because if you don't rest, it's just like a machine. If you put the machine working, you're not putting it to rest, and you're not oiling it, you'll break down. Do you even take time to have me time? That you just need to go sit down in a restaurant, even buy a cup of tea or juice or even water.
You've asked him the question I wanted to ask. Respond, do you? Do you do that?
Wow, that's a really interesting one. And for me, it hasn't been easy. It hasn't been easy, and of course, I know. I mean, one of the things I also didn't say is that I mean, you mentioned cooking. One of the things that we do quite a bit is cooking together and preparing meals together. But also, we did seek the services of a specialist. Who had several sessions with us. And for a long time, I came to realize that I had never stopped to think about myself. And that was having a lot of issues, suffering a lot of anxiety. And sometimes my sleep got quite a beating.
Yeah.
But I'm learning both, not necessarily directly through the laws, but I'm also I've been through some programs in my workplace that look at self-care and well-being and leadership and having that organized frame for leadership. I'm not a gym enthusiast, but I try to work out.
Okay.
Maybe 2-3 times a week.
Okay.
I take some long walks sometimes.
Nice.
But like I said, I also have friends who sometimes we just get to sit and just have a good chat, and
which is a good
chat. Of course, it took me also quite some time, to get back my spiritual beat, because when these things happen, sometimes your faith, gets
it's
affected.
tested. True.
It's tested, but of course also even in our church, I'm an Anglican, so we have support. We have support. Nice. You have pastors you can sometimes call, have a chat with both in Nairobi and back up country. A small group of friends. We go with my kids around quite a bit. But I think in terms of self-care, maybe that's an area that I'm picking up new habits. I'm trying to learn how to play a guitar.
Wow.
But I love music, so a bit of that. I think maybe I need to. That's an area that maybe faith should guide me on.
Absolutely. And
on what to do, because I think even for some of my friends, I think that has been a concern.
Yeah.
That, you also, as part of this process, you also have to be a lot spoken about yourself and taking care of yourself. I don't know what that would amount to, but
the expert is here. I mean, imagine you have free consultants here, But Sally, I also think it's also about people's personality. Yeah. I'm one person who, when I get somebody I can confide in and speak to, I feel okay. So for me, that's my
self-care.
Part of my self-care. And I remember there's a couple of friends of mine, a friend who works away out of the country, like now on the New Year's Eve, they just came and spent 2 days with us, and they're just,
and you vented,
waking up in the morning, you're not going anywhere, you're just seeing, you just sit and chatting, you're talking, you're taking kids.
Good enough. Different people have different ways of self-care. Some will get fun in just window shopping. Okay. Just going to nice malls, just driving around. So it depends. It depends.
Is it important for, now Sam, to keep talking about, the wife who is the mother to his children? Is it important for him to keep talking about them, or is it for the kids now to bring up the topic for them to talk? I think it's also therapeutic, isn't it?
Yeah, it is therapeutic. Yeah, they say the more you talk about it, the more it gets out of you, right? The more you heal. Yeah. Right. If you become so defensive and never have memories, that's why we have memorials for the departed. Yeah. Right. Talking about the person who has left is okay. Okay. To some people it can work. To some people it might fail terribly. Yeah. Because to some it brings the trauma. If they didn't process the loss nicely, it triggers a sad part, the trauma that they went through. Maybe when that person died, they went through a lot of suffering. Like in the villages, we see people being chased away from home, a lot of inheritance and traditions that happen, and they bring pain. So there are some people, when they talk about it, it works, it backfires. Yeah. But you see, for Sam here, what he did before their mother died, he involved the children. Right. And psychologically, they went through the process. And somehow it prepared them, because it can be okay or it might go south. So with that, you can just be talking and reminding yourself of how the times were. And with that also, it makes you also take care of yourselves. They say cancer can come to you whether you live a responsible life or a reckless life. It doesn't choose. How it happens, it's still a mystery to us. Okay. Right? Okay. So talking about it is good. It's good. But also you just need to to look at the emotions. After you talk about it, what emotions does it bring?
Okay.
And then from there, you can just study the cues and then you make a decision from there. There are people who, when they start talking about it, they become teary. There are people, when you talk about a loss of a loved one, you say, wow, by the way, mommy used to do this, daddy used to do this. So from there, what are we learning? What is the good lesson that we're learning from the departed soul?
Okay.
What values did they leave to us? What are the good times? And what do we want to do in honor of her?
Okay.
Yeah, or him.
Wow. Sam, because we're talking about parenting, and I'm just wondering, what has been the hardest part for you? You know, now you're parenting, you're alone. Has it been like?
The hardest part for me has been just the adjustment. Just the realization. You know, one of the things I realized even during the illness, you still kind of get things moving in the house, you know. You still, as a man, you're not very much concerned. So it was a very abrupt shift. You have to start thinking about things you never used to think about. Sometimes it was easy if you're told your child is unwell in school. I mean, somebody can take care of that, and they can sort it out. You now need to get to the level of checking. Even have even check your kitchen now. You know what kind of foods are there. But I think for me, it was the hardest thing was actually going back to work. After that, you almost feel you want to stay indoors. You want to stay with your kids, and just basically beginning now to develop these new routines and do some and what pains you most is when you see your young children now trying to behave like. All of a sudden, and sometimes they also feel like, maybe you are worse off. They want to take care of you and everything. But I think one of the things I was told with one of the counselors that we had was that we don't need to push it. Let us not push it. Let us not be in a hurry to heal and in a hurry to forget. And children come sometimes, you find they don't want to eat, they don't want to do anything, but when they talk to you and you tell them it's okay, I mean, I also feel the same. And that has, in a way, brought us, I think I find myself close to my kids now more than before, because we told them, the only way we are going to overcome this is by being together and by supporting each other. Sometimes they would wake up and they throw tantrums, even maybe to the house help or so it's just that change is just so sudden and it involves quite a lot, and you have to learn things you never used to concern yourself with, and sometimes it takes you to a level where you become paranoid. You almost feel like, is my kid safe today in school? They're playing out there, are they okay? Which are normally things that typically men don't really think about. But so far I think also the Word of God has also been a great part of coping with this, and sometimes in our men's group a few people I talk to and calling, and some even bring you books to read and things to just make you feel better. And at the workplace we have got an organization that has a lot of systems to a welfare that helps you cope around, and so what I keep saying, one of the questions people keep asking, one of the things one of the question I hear a lot is, how are you doing, and how have you managed to move on? And I think my question has always been one. I don't think we've already figured it out, but I think we are better than where we were a year ago.
Time heals.
Time is not on our side. As always, it's an enemy. But Faith, I want you to give us your final sentiment, just advice to parents out there who are going through same journey in like 30 seconds, please.
Wow. In loss, we need to adjust to the new reality. It has happened, we cannot reverse, but here it is. We need to adjust to the circumstances that surround it. The assuring part that it's gonna be okay should be our guiding factor. It will never always rain. Sunshine will come.
Sunshine will come eventually.
Yes.
I hope that has encouraged you, that sunshine will come eventually. And also I love that you've anchored yourself on the word of God. And I know that in Isaiah, I was talking about it just, as we're starting the show with my colleague, Isaiah 41:10 says, do not be afraid, he's with you. He'll hold you, he's there with you, you and the children. So we just want to encourage you and know that you're not alone. Faith is here. I think now from there you guys can now walk through self-care. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for making time to be here. I really do appreciate. And to my viewers and my listeners, wherever you are, I just want to say a big asante sana for your time. Thank you for being part of this family, for ensuring that we keep Jesus on the airways through your support. You've been very supportive, giving us your time, giving us your whatever little support you have to ensure that you are with us here, walking the journey to bring you very good and clean content. Thank you so much. And we just urge you, if you're somewhere and you feel you want to be part of this community that really is impacting people's lives, you can send in your donation on our paybill number 316. The account number will be your telephone number. Asante sana. God bless you and keep you, and may he shine his face upon you. Have a lovely Tuesday.